Hi, welcome to our channel Good New. Today, we will discuss the China Digital Yuan. Isn't it boring? However, it will have an impact on the financial world. We're always talking about the fight between the United States and China, whether it's an AI war, a space race, semiconductors, or military. But there are all these tensions. I believe that the real likelihood of a major conflict between China and America will be about money. It'll be about paper money. Paper money dates back to the Tang and Song dynasties, when China was the originator. They know a lot about paper money, yet the US dollar currently dominates the world's money. So, what is it? When we think of paper money, we may trace it back to the Tang and Song dynasties, when China was the originator of paper money. They know a lot about paper money, but the US dollar currently rules the world's money. So, for the past 6 years, starting around 2014, we've seen China really take off in the digital currency space. It's known as Digital Currency 1.0. It has to do with mobile payments. It's all about linking your Alipay and Wechat Pay accounts to your bank account, and everyone in China was doing it. So, in China, most cities have gone cashless, with more than 90% of people utilizing mobile payment on a regular basis, and this has radically transformed society. Unless you've lived in China and experienced it, you may not fully get how this has altered business practices. Do you believe this is over? No. The Chinese people's efforts in invention exceed our wildest dreams. The digital RMB app was unexpectedly introduced on the app stores of several mobile phones on January 4th. As a response, American specialists penned papers plainly warning that the development of China's digital yuan will have a significant influence on the financial system controlled by the US dollar, which in turn will have a significant impact on the US national interests and national security. Is that correct? Will China's digital yuan dethrone the US dollar? How much time will it take? That, and much more, is exactly what we will discuss today. Russia insisted that European nations pay for natural gas in rubles during the recent Russian-Ukrainian crisis, which was the first salvo fired against the dollar's hegemony. Do you know how the dollar bullies the rest of the world? Okay, I'll keep using Russia as an example. Did you know that Russia experienced a financial default in 1998? And the effects were severe. It has left many nations with lingering anxieties, and we will discuss this financial catastrophe that has had a negative influence on the world community. Russia has defaulted on its debt, which means it has not paid the money owing to the West, and it has requested an extension. It should be stressed that Russia is not refusing to repay, but rather requesting an extension. Nonetheless, the Russian ruble's exchange rate dropped. Worse, for a long time, Russian enterprises borrowed money from the West at a 100% interest rate, which meant that if they borrowed 10,000 rubles, they had to repay 20,000 rubles. You may be wondering if the situation can be solved if Russia does not borrow money. Unfortunately, many Russian businesses rely on imported foreign equipment and cannot function without the dollar even for a single day. Because interest rates were so high at the time, a big number of Russian enterprises went bankrupt one after the other. This is the result of the US dollar entering the manufacturing process. The argument is identical when the US dollar enters asset markets such as equities and the housing market. Everyone now realizes how horrible the US currency is. It will abruptly halt a developing country's progress. What's more unfortunate is that the dollar's retreat has eroded everyone's trust. After losing faith, rich people in several nations simply sold their homes and traded them for US dollars. As a result, that country's economy would contract even further. This might be the middle income trap. A country has some money, but it is not exceptionally wealthy, and it is vulnerable to robbery from hot money. Many of China's measures throughout the years have effectively been geared to keep this from happening. We can genuinely comprehend why China has been so active in deleveraging in the last 2 years if we realize this understanding. Its primary goal is to eliminate debt. Only in this manner can we escape the negative repercussions of a national economic collapse as long as the money is not paid. That's how the USD bullies the rest of the globe. Then comes the crucial question: when will the world abandon the dollar? In my opinion, any country, like the alternation of American and British power, needs to progressively establish its own internal strength and credibility. When one's own strength exceeds that of the US dollar by a significant margin, and the country's currency is more widely recognized, the globe will gradually forsake the US dollar, but this will take a long, long time. The United States became the world's most powerful country in 1894, but the dollar did not take the top rank until 1945. This is still under wartime conditions, so it will take considerably longer. Therefore, it can be seen from this that if the currency of any country wants to surpass the US dollar, on the one hand, it must be guaranteed by its military power, and on the other hand, it really needs to do better than the US dollar in credit, making the world realize that holding the currency from your country can be spent as if holding US dollars, and the currency will not be secretly printed to dilute everyone's wealth. Only in this manner can the money be globalized. This will undoubtedly be a lengthy path, and I wonder if we will witness the birth of this money in our lifetime. However, once it arises, it will take many, many years for others to dispute it. As I have stated, a country must meet two prerequisites in order to fight the dollar's hegemony. The first is superior military capability, whereas the second is excellent credit. Do you consider China to be a qualified candidate? Will China's digital yuan then terminate the USD's hegemony? In fact, the birth of digital currency is to regain the power of the RMB. As the world's largest trading country, China's global foreign trade exports exceed $2.399 trillion US dollars, considerably outpacing Europe, the United States, and Japan. However, such a significant amount of overseas commerce contradicts the RMB's position in the international currency circulation system. Digital currencies will make it simpler to conduct commerce without relying on the US dollar as an intermediary currency, and China may find itself with greater financial autonomy when interacting with trading partners, thus allowing China to circumvent monitoring of the US financial system. At the moment, digital yuan is confined to replacing banknotes and being utilized in various transaction payment scenarios. However, we must look ahead. The importance of digital yuan in encouraging globalization should not be overlooked. Although the path to yuan internationalization is long and tough, China has made the most critical first step, and the second and third steps will follow soon. Thanks for watching in this video. You can add your ideas or suggestions below. Please keep following our channel and like our videos.